Thanks for downloading another segment from the Best of the Classic Metal Show. The Classic Metal Show is heard live on Saturdays from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. And now here's another piece of Classic Metal Show history on the Best of the Classic Metal Show.
The Classic Metal Show.
It's 104.7, the Rocket Morning Show, and that's brand new Foreigner featuring former Hurricane vocalist Kelly Hansen on lead vocal with a brand new tune there called Too Late. And what can you tell us about that, Chris?
Well, Foreigner just put out yet another greatest hits package. It's called I think it's called No End in Sight. It's a double CD package, and it does feature all of the classic stuff, but it features one of the new tunes, and you can attest to this, man, because both you and I caught Foreigner, the quote-unquote new lineup of Foreigner, because basically it's Mick Jones and a bunch of new guys, but Foreigner is stronger now than they ever were back in the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Foreigner at this point is somewhat of an all-star band. Obviously, you got founding member Mick Jones, who kind of steers the ship. Then you got Kelly Hansen, who was an 80s singer in a band Hurricane. You got Jeff Pilson, formerly of Dokken, on bass. You have Jason Bonham, the son of legendary Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham, on drums, and got a couple other dudes in there too.
Yeah, there's some other schmoes that nobody knows their names, but yeah, they're out there, and it is amazing. Kelly Hansen, especially, when you listen to that song right there, that guy sounds almost exactly like Lou Gramm did in the 80s. It's amazing how much he actually sounds like him.
Right. Well, we've had Kelly Hansen on the Classic Metal Show, as well as Jeff Pilson, who's a personal friend of ours as well, and I've had an opportunity to talk to Jason Bonham, who also had his own band in the late 80s, early 90s, just going by his last name, Bonham. And I guess Jason is leaving Foreigner at the end of this month.
That's what I hear. He's going off to record music with Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin. So, I wonder who the singer might be in that project.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting that, okay, we're assembling the core here. We've got John Paul Jones, we got Jimmy Page, we got Jason Bonham, who, of course, is carrying on the legacy of his late father, John Bonham. Wow, we're missing a singer. Who could that possibly be?
Well, you want the truth? I know everybody wants it to be Robert Plant, but I'd rather see either Chaz West or Lenny Wolfe from Kingdom Come, because I'd rather hear it where it sounds good instead of hearing what Plant has to offer in his late 60s, because he just does not sound like Led Zeppelin Plant anymore.
Do you think that this is a calculated move to kind of corral Plant into joining them?
It probably is in some respects. I think that this is one piece of it. I think Jimmy Page closing the Olympics without Robert Plant was another very calculated move to say, look, I can be out here without you, pal. But I don't know. I honestly don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think Robert Plant has to have half a $1 billion right now.
What do you think? Do you think it's about the money, though? I really don't think it's about the money. I think it's just about the legacy. And, you know, after so many years of not doing it, I think they'd be itching to do it again.
Well, I just don't think that he wants – I think Robert has had enough success outside of it with his solo thing that he doesn't want to go back and, you know, and let the fans down in any way, shape, or form. He's built a career with kind of a different voice as Robert Plant, the solo artist. And, you know, I just think he realizes that he can't do it for 50, 60 shows.
Sure. Well, I think back in the 90s, back in 1994, Jimmy Page smoked Robert Plant out of his obscurity, more or less, and got him to rejoin him to do the Page Plant project by bringing in another notable vocalist, David Coverdale of Whitesnake, and that started a whole controversy calling David Coverdale David Cover Version.
Right.
And
sure.
they did that Page Plant, or not Page Plant, but Coverdale Page project that was pretty damn successful for those guys. They had MTV videos when MTV still played a couple of videos, and they did really well. They didn't tour the States, although they did play several shows over in Europe and Japan, and sold out everywhere they went.
Of course, man. David Coverdale from Whitesnake and Jimmy Page. I mean, Jimmy's one of those guys, if you think about it, he's not really had a whole lot of commercial success since Led Zeppelin went away. I mean, I think Coverdale Page was the only thing that really sold anything. But he's always had the ability to do really well when he does tour. You know, if you think about The Firm or you think about his solo tours like with the Outrider album or even the Coverdale Page stuff, it always did well.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think, Robert Plant probably took a look at that Coverdale Page thing and thought to myself, hey, wait a minute, this guy is stealing my gig.
Well, I'll tell you what, I saw a couple of those shows on the, not the first tour, but the Walking to Clarksdale tour, and it was pretty abysmal.
Well, I think, I don't think their heart was in on that at all. I did see the Coverdale Page when it came back together after they did the unleaded thing, and I did see them at the Gund Arena, and that was a phenomenal show.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I saw that Clarksdale thing, and they were trying to make all the songs Middle Eastern sounding and stuff. It was just not good.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, like I said, Jason Bonham leaving the band Foreigner here to work with John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page, so we'll see if there will be another chapter in the Zeppelin book here in 2009.
Be honest, dude. Do you really want to see it or not?
I do. I would want to see it because I missed it in the 70s. I was too young to, go to concerts back then, and I didn't get to see it. I did see, like I said, I saw the Page Plant thing, but to see John Paul Jones and Jason Bonham on drums, I think I would like to see that.
Will it ruin it for you as a band, though, if they suck?
No, I don't think so. Not at all, because we've got a legacy of Led Zeppelin, tons of music, tons of CDs, and it'll never ruin it for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously I'll go. That's one of those that I'll pay whatever the price is to go to, but I have a real fear on that if it's bad, then I'll just be devastated that one of the greatest bands of all time gave me a poor show.
Well, I just look at it as seeing legends on stage, just the way that I felt a couple of weeks ago with seeing Motorhead's Lemmy on stage and Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler on stage with Dio and Rob Halford and the rest of Judas Priest. Legends on stage. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'd like to say that I was there and I saw it.
Sure, it's kind of how I felt when I saw Hanson.
Okay, very nice. Well, speaking of legendary bands, this next band is reaching, I guess, legendary status as female bands go. The band is called Heart. They established themselves back in the middle 70s. They went very strong through the 80s and kind of died off there into the 90s. I guess they're still out there doing some shows. They got some shows coming up here with Cheap Trick and Journey, I believe. Yeah, it's Cheap Trick, Journey, and Heart. And we're going to be talking to an author by the name of Jake Brown. And what is this guy's claim to fame?
Well, Jake wrote a book. He's written a bunch of books, actually, but he wrote a book recently called Heart in the Studio, and it's really one of these compelling rock books where he just dug in with everybody that's ever worked with the band, and he kind of profiled each album that Heart did as they went from being nobodies to, the height of their popularity and then back down. And he really just dug in with the band and with, the people involved and kind of drew a profile of what Heart actually is from the session people that worked with them. It's a good book.
Sure. All right. Well, we're going to be speaking with Jake Brown here in a couple of minutes. So bringing us into the interview here, we're going to play one of the better tracks or one of the most popular tracks from Heart. This is Barracuda exclusively here on the 104.7 The Rocket, The Morning Show. Thanks for checking out the best of the Classic Metal Show. You can tune into the Classic Metal Show live every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com.
Classic Metal Show.